I've
Okay.
had a longstanding interest in longevity medicine as well, and I'm using the same approach. And it comes down to the most basic things. You know, diet, for instance. I mean, there's lots of evidence to show that, for instance, women who eat fast food more than 4 times in a week have significantly decreased fertility rates. I mean, that's a very, very simple thing and it's pretty obvious.
Okay.
But yet people continue to eat fast food because of our lifestyles. Um, so it always comes back to the very, very basic things. Your food, your activity, your stress management, your amount of sleep, endocrine disrupting chemicals. Then you can use some new technologies. Like I'm a big believer in nutrigenomics, which is genetic testing, which informs you about the interaction of nutrition and genetics.
Okay.
So that will help you figure out, what vitamins and supplements you need from a genetic point of view.
Neat.
And there is a test out there called the Grow Baby test, which was particularly looking at pregnancy outcomes. The researchers, they're functional medicine doctors, they took 40 separate genetic tests that they had researched that found a difference in outcomes of pregnancies. So they took a group of 100 Medicaid women and they did this testing on them. And then according to the test results, they supplemented them to what they should be. And then they had another group of women, which were private patients, which were followed in the regular antenatal care. And they looked at the differences in pregnancy-induced hypertension and gestational diabetes, which are two very common disorders which can affect baby and mom. And they found a significantly lower risk of having these problems in the Medicaid group that had the nutrigenomic testing. So, I would love everybody to do this testing. It's out there, it's available, but it's an extra cost. Conventional medicine does not really look at it. Functional doctors do it quite often, but it can be very helpful in your general health and your fertility and your pregnancy outcomes on top of that.
Hmm.
So there are new things that can be extremely helpful, but there's so much going on. It's really difficult for people who particularly want to improve their fertility to know what to do. And that's why I wrote a book about it, because I really look at all the evidence. What are the articles saying about diet? What is the best diet for you? What is the best exercise plan for you if you're planning pregnancy? And it depends a little bit on your history and so forth. So it is really, really basic stuff, but it's not dealt with in conventional medicine because we actually are not trained in this. It's the
Okay.
alternatively trained doctors who spend more time dealing with it.
So how do we figure out the right like nutrition, exercise, sleep regime for a specific woman, right? Like how do you look at her and then decide or determine, I guess is a better word than decide what she should be eating, sleeping,
Okay.
etc.
So personally, when it comes to diet, I don't believe that there's one diet that's best for everyone. But when you look at the research, a Mediterranean diet has the best outcomes in terms of general health and in terms of fertility as well. Now, you could start with a Mediterranean diet, do nutrigenomic testing to see what you particularly lack in supplementation. That would be a good start. Now, is everybody willing to do that? Maybe, maybe not. I think women will only really become interested when they realize they're having problems.
Right.
And that may be a little bit late. So again, it's a matter of education and telling people, how important it is.
Okay. Well, if we, I guess, use the baseline of start with the generalized diet, the Mediterranean, and figure out your needs from there, that sounds, a little bit like an elimination diet that would be used to solve any sort of other issues that we experience throughout our
Absolutely.
lives.